so today we are going to do the Gumball Guess program together. We're going to show you how to use array lists. We're also going to show you how to put a cool picture on. So here's what the program does. I am going to enter in a name, and we're going to try and guess how many gumballs are in the jar. So I'm going to enter in my name, and I am going to guess 250. And then I'm going to have Patrick guess. He is going to guess 275, and we'll have Amy guess, and Amy can guess 225, and then we'll see who the winner. You can put as many in as you want, as you know, a considerable amount, but it's going to show us who the winner is, and it will say, oh, Patrick was the winner because he was closest. He guessed 275, and the candy in the jar was 366. All right, so this is what we're coding, and I've given you some starter code. The starter code just has the components. So there's 3 labels, there's 2 text boxes, and 2 buttons. And you can see that in your code. There's 2 labels, 2 text box, there's another label, and there's 2 buttons. I've also got a random generator. That way we can set the numbers in the jar to be a random amount every time they play. The set bounds is in there. All that does is sets each of the components up, and I've got a little graph kind of to show you where they are. Name set bounds is 1010, so that's right here, and all of these components are named accordingly. Okay, before we start off with this, I want to add in an additional label for that image, because that's one way to put an image in, is to use a label. So we're going to do this LBL jar, and I'll have to check out the coordinates on that one. So up in my private variables, we say private J label equals new J label. Okay, here's the new part. We need an image to put into that J label. So go to Google Images and find some sort of candy jar that you want to put in, or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a candy jar. I don't really care. And when you go there, click on Tools, and under Size, choose Icon. That way we get something that's a little bit smaller rather than something that takes up the entire screen. And I found this one right here, so I'm just going to go right-click. I'm going to right-click and say Save Image As, and it has to be in the same directory as your .java file. And I've already got it saved even. Nice. So go ahead and hit save. Remember what you name it. Mine was gumball.jpg. And now we can put that image right here inside of our label. So I'm going to say new image icon. And now image icon has a couple of parameters too. So we're going to put an image on. That means I have 2 closing parentheses back here. I'm going to just kind of space this over so you can see. The parameters for an image icon is a resource. So I'm going to say get class, open close parentheses, dot get resource, and then another set of open close parentheses. So we have 3 closing right in a row. Now inside that resource, we can just put the name of our jar. If I can remember what I named it as. Do you guys remember what I named it as? Now I forgot. I think it was candy or something like that. I hate it when I do this like on the fly and then don't remember. I swear it was like Gumball. Okay, I'm just going to save it again. Darn it. Save image as. It was gumball.jpg. Okay, good. I'm good. So here in my resource, I'm going to put gumball.jpg. Okay, that just creates the label. It doesn't actually put it on the screen. If you remember, we still have to do a set bounds for it. So I'm going to come in here and say lbl jar.setBounds. Okay, I can't remember what the bounds are, so we're going to go kind of take a look. Really helps to kind of draw out what you want your picture to look like. So I want this to start just short of, on the X coordinate, 20 pixels short of 200. So 280 by 10. So I'm going to say 280 by 10. Now I need the width and the height, and the width and height is going to be, looks fairly like a square, so if I just calculate one, I can figure both of them out. 3, 4, 5, 6, what, I lost count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and each square is 20 pixels. What's 9 times 2? 18? 180? Sound good? 180, comma 180. So there's my bounds. Now before it shows up on the window, I still need to add it to. I have to use this add command. So I'm going to say add LBL jar. So theoretically now it should run, hopefully, unless I've done this wrong, and we should have our cute little image in there now. So it's just like adding in a label. If you want an image on there, it is adding a label. Just as the parameter, instead of text, we're going to put an image. Okay, so now let's code the rest of this. We're going to code the list. Now, rather than having a list of names and a list of guesses, it might be easier for us to create a guess class that will store both the name and the guess at the same time. Then all we have to do is make a list of guesses. So go ahead and do File New and create a guess class. Here I have class guess. Okay, so our guess is going to store two pieces of data. So our instance variables are going to be their name and their guess, which would be an int. We need a constructor to be able to set those values. So I don't need a default constructor on this one because I'm not going to do an empty guess. So I am just going to do an overloaded constructor. There we go. So now I have an overloaded constructor. Now I got to think, what information would I need about the guess? Well, if I'm trying to order who's closest to the winner, I have to have some way of seeing what value they guessed. So I'm going to do a getter for the guess method. Here's our constructor, and we're going to do a getter for the guess. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much it. I will need to be able to display their information. So I can either have another getter for the name, or I can just do a toString method that can return both pieces of information, which I think that's what we'll do, because whenever we're displaying it, we'll probably display, hey, this person guesses this amount. So let's just do a toString method for the display.
Mom, can you help?
So all this is going to do is return their name and what they guessed. There we go. And that is it for our guess class. Let's just compile that really quick, make sure that works, and catch us in the next video as we put all the pieces together to make the Gumball guess program.